Hello. Hi. Yeah, today, as you can see, Wednesday, the market actually went up quite a bit. Um, Today, 16th of March, supposed to be the Fed doing the announcement on a quarter basis point interest increase in a long time, which they haven't in a long time. They have kept it zero. So for the since COVID until now, apparently, analysts, the more uh, analyst has been saying that it could be four times of quarterly increase, quarterly basis point increase in 2022, and another four times in 2023, total of eight times. So you get to an aggregate of 2%. Um, because the current inflation rise is because of the war threats, which is temporary. Yes, you can see the tension in the geopolitical uncertainty. The last couple of days, it has de-escalated a little bit. As you can see, Putin, it seems like he has a lot of bond defaults that is going to be due quite soon if he doesn't pay up. His financial currency has been crippled. The reserve has been frozen. Half of it, especially 600 billion, he can only use about 300 billion. And US and Canada, which they are not so reliant on, unlike Europe, these few NATO countries, they have also banned buying gas and oil from uh, Russia, because that's like equivalent to you know uh, buying oil to kill people, by paying money to kill people of Ukraine war, finance the Ukraine war. So I have two videos which I have handpicked, which I have done some research, and I feel that Putin actually is getting weaker now. Um, the country Ukraine may be broken into two as a settlement. As you can see, unemployment is great in Russia right now, and as I say, coup d'état possibilities are there for people to riot, and the oligarchs also, they are there for the money, and quite a lot of their businesses have been frozen. Sanction means frozen, basically. It doesn't mean that their ownership has been forfeited. So uh, it looks like Putin is trying to look for a graceful soft landing, even though there's no physical war happening. It seems like he is trying to get the priest to give a moral support to the people of Russia, saying that what he is doing is correct, or even trying to get China to help um, on weapons and purchase of things, oil and gas, or help to supply food and all that to Russia. So as Russia is trying to um, pick on Ukraine, their own country is slowly turning into a mess as well. Even though there's no physical war or invasion on Russia, it seems like the financial sanctions are working, and the fact that he's getting Syrian work soldiers and paying them USD 100 a month, he's like upping up to about 1,000, and he's getting 40,000 Syrians people to register to become armies. So he doesn't need that, if he's actually his force, or ground force morale is uh, kept in good condition. So I also want to show you a video of other types of inflations, which is not due to geopolitical, which is the second type, would be wage spiraling, that has also been has come down quite a bit. And the next thing is the producer price index that just came out a few days ago, also show that other than the basic commodities like oil, gas, and wheat and grain, also have slowed down, means that consumer demand are actually becoming less because of fear. So I'm going to show you some videos.
Coming by the end of May. In fact, in our course member live streams, I broke down a whiteboard meeting that we had in our office talking about when we expect the war in Ukraine to end. We expect it to end by the end of May. 3 hours later, an advisor from Zelensky releases a press statement that says we expect war to be over by May.
Yeah.
Now, I said end of May. They said by May. Fine, I'll take it. But I'm like, whoa, that is kind of eerie that happened so closely. But that's good because that's going to drive those commodity prices down. And what I believe is that Federal Reserve Chairperson Jerome Powell is looking at these reports and he's going, yep, this is exactly what I'm expecting. When we take out the food and energy sector, that new portion of inflation, we're going to start seeing inflation inflecting down. This report does that. When we look at the wage price spiral, which we were nervous about because of the January labor report, but when we got the February labor report, we saw wages flat. Not so great for wage earners, but in terms of a wage price spiral, wages not going up is a sign that there's no wage price spiral, right? That's really, really good. So when we start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, it's not the headline numbers that we want to be paying attention to. It's the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty is telling us no wage price spiral. Month over month numbers outside of food and energy, which are all screwed up because of war, are actually going down. This is very, very, very good. Let's look at the same thing over here on the CPI report. Remember CPI came out last week, right? The index for all items less food and energy rose 0.5%. Hey, look, that still means we're going at a speed of 6% inflation, which is still high. We're still running hot according to these reports, and we know we're running hotter than this. Come on, let's...
This is good. 0.5 is a very, very small increase because analysts was expecting 2% increase for anything other than food and energy.
Be real, we know that shelter is going up more than 5%. We know that housing is much more expensive. But when it comes to these reports and the Federal Reserve's actions, we know the Fed is looking for these signs of deceleration of inflation. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing it here in CPI. We're seeing it here in PPI. And we're seeing it in wages.
Yeah, so because time is running out, so I'll put this link in the what you call in my description, so you can actually check it out. So,
relationship. Russia can supply nearly all of China's oil and gas needs at a low price. And their tanks are stalled and vulnerable to Javelin missiles. But the biggest problem is with Russian artillery. Ukraine doesn't have much to get hit back. So what would happen if we let them have through Poland, some of our unmanned drones, say like a couple thousand of them, that can be used to find and root out artillery positions? As long as the hail of artillery fire continues, Russia can encircle cities and starve them out. But if Ukraine could break the cordon, attack the artillery, and further demoralize Russian troops, it could be a game changer. Without better munitions from the West, I don't see that happening unless Russia runs out of ammunition, although that's a surprisingly real possibility. 3 ideas: vaccines for peace, a Merkel gambit, and a Ukrainian offense powered by U.S. unmanned aerial vehicles. Maybe.
Yeah, this is just Jim Cramer's take on the escalating current political tensions. But as I mentioned earlier, I think the Ukraine and Russia war has kind of like take its natural course by there's already a slight slowdown because of the Russian troops are not as power as Chang'e as what Putin wanted them to be. So a little bit of a disappointment. So yeah, that's all for today. Just kind of like sharing with you, not financial advice, but looking like there's some glimpse of hope in the market. So yeah, stay tuned for my next episode. Please click like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot.
Outside the box. What we should do every